making any changes at this point, or not really? I mean, is this?
Well, you think about everything, all the time. And like I said, if you went back and, you looked at the Atlanta game, we played well in that game. We played very well in Brooklyn. Could have won that game. Played well enough to win against Chicago. And we didn't play well in the Denver game. So you look at it in totality, but you're always evaluating everything that you're doing. And you're looking at the different combinations and if, things could be done better. So, but good.
Do you expect to make any lineup changes tomorrow night?
We could, yeah.
You know where they will be?
Yeah, well, I'm still mulling it over, so.
But in terms of just trying to narrow it down, Burks, you still want to see more in that league.
Yeah, and again, that, all these guys are interchangeable, so they've played with both groups, so it's, we'll get a look at some things.
Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, please subscribe, or if you've been here before and haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And turn on the notification bell so you know when I drop these kind of videos, especially these kind of videos that kind of just come out of nowhere. They're not tied to a post game. They're tied to, sometimes they're tied to a practice press conference like we just heard. And also, the New York Post, Mike Vaccaro, has actually posted an article speculating on the exact same topic that we're going to discuss today, which is Thibs is open to more lineup changes. Now, could it finally be Obi Toppin time? I mean, he really was kind of coy about it. He didn't really give any clues as to what he might actually do, what he's thinking about, but he says they're looking at it and they're considering it even as soon as tomorrow night in San Antonio. So let's look at this. Here we go. Julius Randle and Obi Toppin. They've shared the court a decent amount this season, about 100-something possessions or so. What I'm going to do is we're going to look at this objectively. We're going to look at the stats. We're going to see if it makes sense. That's what we're going to look at. But before we do that, I want us to review something that I posted a video before the season started, which was I forgot the exact name of the video, but it was the keys to success for this season. What do the Knicks have to do to win and to win consistently? It's going to be interesting for you guys to review this, for all of us to review it. Here they were. This is the exact same thing that I posted before. Faster pace, number one. That hasn't happened. 40 plus three-point attempts. Well, the three-point attempts are up. Now remember, Derrick Rose said 37 to 40. I want more. I want 40 as the bare minimum, 42. I want them to hoist the three a lot, but I'd be happy with 37 to 40. So at least that has increased somewhat. Ball movement. That has not. These Knicks are not moving the ball enough and not consistently, and especially the starting unit. The first unit has not been a good ball moving team, and hence we are actually like 20th, 24th in assists in the league right now. And there you go. Point guard defense. Well, that was a big concern. I was concerned about Kemba. Turned out my concerns were valid. He's been benched. He's not even in rotation. And that's why Burks is starting, because he does provide some nice size at the one. And he's been a pretty decent defender for about not the first 5-6 games or so, not so much. But since then, about the last 17 games or so, Burks has really come on and played some decent defense. And the last one is small ball. That's right. This is what I outlined as a key to success for this season. Because I just didn't see that the team, the way it was constructed, that they could really go far without utilizing small ball as a real bona fide weapon. Well, now we're here. The Knicks have now lost 3 in a row. We're under 500 for the first time all year, 11-12, and they're about to go on a road trip to San Antonio, then they play the Pacers, and then they play Toronto. Those are 3, they're easier games than the previous 3 we just had. We just played the Nets, Bulls, and the Nuggets. Nuggets should have been easier, and it wasn't. It was actually probably, in a lot of people's opinion, the worst loss of the season. I'm not even sure it was the worst loss of the season, honestly. That Magic loss, that third game of the season, that tells the whole story of where we are right now. The inconsistency of this team, the inability to play defense for 48 minutes. There was a lot of reasons, and if you watch my post game that I dropped, I think it was just yesterday or the day before, can't even remember. Days are a blur right now. I outlined exactly what was the issue. The issue is effort defensively. Now, someone who always gives effort is Obi Toppin. Yeah, this is his second year, and he was the 8th pick for the New York Knicks last season. He started off slow. In some ways, he was kind of a disappointment at first because we were expecting him to be pro-ready. At least his offensive game was supposed to be pro-ready, and it wasn't. And his defense, of course, wasn't at all. But give credit to him. Give credit to Mr. Toppin. Young Mr. Toppin put in the work, and he turned himself into, I would say, it's not even an argument, probably one of the most electrifying players in the entire NBA. And by far, the most electrifying Knick that we have on our staff, on our roster. You know, Quickly is also pretty electrifying himself, but in a different way. Obi's dunks, the way that he gets out on the break, his transition game, he gets steals, he's even getting blocks. His defense has come a long way, guys. A long way. And we've even heard Thibs compliment his defense, compliment his all-around game. And that is why, for the first time, Thibs, not for the first time, but actually Thibs, I don't even think they even played any small ball at all last year. Obi and Randle never shared the court, but this season they have. Let's look at some stats. First, we're going to look at, these are Obi's stats from cleaning the glass, which scrubs out garbage time, because garbage time is very misleading, especially for someone who doesn't play as many minutes as a starter and then ends up on the floor during garbage time. And we have had some garbage time lately, which is a problem. It's a problem overall. But Obi Toppin has played 670 possessions in the 2021-22 season. And he is, look at this, man. His differential is in a 98th percentile. Now, the higher the number in the percentile rankings, all the colored boxes are the rankings for his position. So he's 98th. So that's elite. Those are elite numbers. His points per 100 possessions, 117.8. Very nice. His field goal percentage, 89th percentile, 55.8%. Oh, his points per possession is 93rd percentile. Nice. He still commits a lot of turnovers. Not that uncommon for big guys. Not that uncommon, but he's in the 28th percentile. Not happy with that number, but that's his one negative number in his offensive stats. Look at his offensive rebounding. 30.4%. That's sweet. 90%. Remember, this is compared to all other bigs that he plays with. He's not comparing himself against everybody, guards and stuff. No, against other guys who are competing for those rebounds. His free throw rate, 23.4 for a 96th percentile. So there's no doubt that Obi, this is 670 possessions. This is a decent sample size. There's no doubt that Obi is a lethal offensive weapon. Now let's look at his defense. Points. This is outstanding. 102.1 for a 91 percentile ranking. Now bigs actually are more responsible for keeping scores down than other positions, especially guards and wings. 102.1 for a 91 percentile ranking is outstanding. Look at the field goal percentage, the defensive goal percentage. When he's on the floor, the opponent only shoots 46.7%. That is sweet. That's 97 percentile. Wow. And again, he helps cause turnovers. He's actually improved tremendously in that area with blocks and with steals. and just all around excellent, not excellent, I don't want to say excellent, but all around solid defense. Now, his offensive rebounding for the opponents, they do get their fair share, 30.6. So that's actually a minus because he's only responsible for 30.4. So it's almost a wash. Okay. The free throw rates, now he commits fouls. The whole team commits unnecessary fouls. You'll see that that's like a team-wide issue. So there we go. Now we're looking at him. Now let's look at all of the possessions that Julius and Obi have been on the court for. They've been on the court together for 128 possessions. You know, kind of a moderate sample size. Not that many possessions, but it's not 20, it's not 12 possessions. That's 128. That's a decent amount. Now let's look at their differential. Their differential between the points scored and the points allowed, it's a 0.43. Plus 4.3. So together, they account for 116.4 points per 100 possessions for a 91 percentile ranking. Pretty excellent. The field goal percentage. So you can see it's still carrying over. The numbers that we saw that Obi had on his own, he's similar when he's with Randle. 56.4% for a 92 percentile ranking. Turnover similar, offensive rebound similar, free throw rate. These guys, when they're on the court together, they get to the line a lot. It increases the chances that they go to the free throw line. Interesting. Now defensively, it's not as exciting as just Obi. This is one thing, and this is one of the issues that Thibs has with playing small ball, which is lack of rim protection. So right now, they're allowing 112.1 points per 100 possessions for a 27 percentile ranking. That's not good. That's not a healthy number. However, the field goal percentage, 50.5% for a 75 ranking, that is nice. That's a good number. Same with the turnovers. They cause turnovers. Their offensive rebounding is weak, and there you go. Now you start seeing the lack of size, the lack of position awareness on where to be on the court. So now you're hurt. And look at that. They are rock bottom in committing free throws. So now you have to ask yourself, okay, well, maybe if they played more often together, they'd improve on the things that they are weak on. That's what you would hope, right? Well, in the end, all that matters is that you score more than you give up. And in this situation, we can see that that would be the result. And the other thing is, we actually haven't seen this lineup used enough to really know whether it's an whether they should use it or not. Now, Obi, in my opinion, and not that many share the opinion, but I believe that Obi one day, especially, he has to get his three-point shot cooking. That's one thing. His three-point shot has been garbage. He has to get that going. But, you know, we saw it. We saw him in Summer League. We saw him in the playoffs in the latter half of last season. He's got a decent three-point shot. It's a high-arcing one, but he can do it. He just hasn't been doing it this season. Maybe he's lost a little confidence in it. However, he has to regain that confidence. Nothing happens. There's no prosperity without that three-point shot hitting at least. I mean, right now I'd take 35% of the time, but ultimately we'd want him to be around 37.5 to 38%. That would be a nice number. But Randle's not shooting the three well at all either. So it's not like this is an Obi issue only. So here you see, in summation, you can see, wait a second, Randle and Obi together, they could be a potent front court. Now let's look at compared to what this looks like with all the other starting lineups. The top line is Kemba Walker, starting lineup. With Fournier, that's a traditional one that's gotten the most starts, the most possessions, 573, with Fournier, Barrett, Randle, and Mitch Robinson. Look at all that blue. A minus 15.9 differential overall. So we're just losing. We're just trash right there. You know, that's 5 percentile. Look at the points per 100 possessions, 104.7. The field goal percentage, 50.5 for us. And we're allowing 59 almost 60% field goal percentage for the opponents. So that's why Thibs made that change. Now look at the next line. That's that same lineup, but with rows. So it's only 71 possessions, but just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. 71 possessions, but still differential of -10. Only 95.8 points scored per. That's only 71 possessions, so but still, these are not exciting stats at all. This doesn't fill me with confidence, and which is why I was actually calling for a complete switch of the backcourts originally, of switching out Kemba and Fournier for Rose and IQ. That didn't happen. We got Burks instead. You know, and you're going to see the Burks here down here in a second. Now, defensively, though, the Rose lineup improves. You can see a little more orange. Okay, fine. Now, these three, above that blue line is Obi with the three starting units, which is Randle, Barrett, and Fournier in either Kemba, which is the first line. The second line is Rose, and the last one is Burks. Now, it's very few possessions, but just to give you an idea. The minute you start inserting Obi in there, we start seeing some more orange. We start seeing some 99 percentile rankings, some 100s, some 100s. You know, the turnover is low again. But look, offensive rebounding, 95%. Free throw rate, boom, boom, boom. Points per possession, we are still giving up a lot of points, but look how many points they're scoring, 135.1 points. That's a sweet number. And then below, those are the numbers I just showed you earlier, which is Julius Randle and Obi Toppin on the court together at all times. Not at all times, but those are the 128 possessions that they've shared. So you can see it's similar to the total of Obi with the other starters. So what does this lead me to conclude and lead all of us to conclude? I think it's worth a shot. You know, at this point, with the way that the team played the other night, or the other morning, the other day, against Denver, and the way that they've played against the Magic, the Cavs, there's been many, many other games that this team has not looked good at all. I think it might be time. It might be time, Coach Thibs. It might be time to get brave, take a risk, and perhaps start Obi Toppin at the 5 position and roll with it for a little bit, see how it goes. You can't ever discover anything if you don't experiment. The time is now. The time looks right. Because if we don't, these other aspects here, the pace is not going to quicken. The ball movement isn't going to increase. The point guard defense is a different issue, but small ball. Obi addresses at least 3 of these 5. And you know what? Maybe his 3-point shot will finally return. Would be nice to have a 5 who can actually hit a 3 once in a while. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer trying this out, especially in light of the situation that we're currently in as a team, as a franchise. We need to find out if our big draft pick from the season before can actually turn into a special player. He's shown glimpses of it. I think he deserves a shot. All right, well, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit the thumbs up. And I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.